Hey there, and welcome to the Brittany Wheeler Show. Join Brittany as she interviews incredible people whose stories will uplift you and remind you the life you long for is just ahead. Buckle up for an inspirational ride to your best life. Take it away, Britt.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Brittany Wheeler Show. Really excited and so blessed to have you today. And I am really excited for the conversation that we are about to get into. Let me tell you, this woman is booked and busy, and it has taken us several months with just life and kids and all the things to have this conversation. And what I believe and I'm so confident about is that every time someone is placed in the itinerary of a podcast and when they're meant to speak is so ordained by God. And I see it time and time again. So I know that this timing is perfect and beautiful and that you will just receive so much from her. So I'm not going to waste any time to introduce. She's a wife, mother, daughter, aunt, a friend. She's an artist, entrepreneur, and owner of Kellie Sansone Creates. She's an animal lover, an activist, an overcomer, a servant heart. Please welcome my friend, Kellie Sansone, to the Brittany Wheeler Show.
Thank you, Brittany. I'm so excited to be here today.
You're so welcome. I'm so like I said, I was like, finally, yay.
Yeah. Yes, we've been trying for a while here, since last year.
Yes, yes. But I just like I said, I mean what I say earlier, that I just trust in God's timing and that sometimes the delay is important. We're going through different things in our lives, and every time there's been a delay and I've recorded with the person, it's way better than I could have imagined. So I know that's going to be the case today because you just continue to amaze me, all that you're experiencing and overcoming and enduring. And I know that you're going to bless people today.
Well, great. I'm excited.
I'm very excited too. So I pass this to you because we do know each other, obviously, as people are seeing/hearing. And I love, because we know each other, I would love for you to share a little bit, a couple minutes of how do we meet each other, or a story of us that comes to mind. I love this part because it gives the audience a really good foundation of our relationship and just getting to know us a little bit better.
Okay. So, gosh, we've known each other for a few years now. I remember meeting you through a retail store that you were consulting for. And I was like, who is this firecracker lady that is just owning it? Amazing. I was so impressed with you from day one. So there's that. My favorite story that I like to tell people, though, is when we met for coffee in near my house that one time when you were in town. And we were just talking about everything and how, you mentioned something about my Italian background and my family. And you go, hey, what was your maiden name before you got married? And I was like, Thompson. And you're like, that's not very Italian. So I had to go through the whole story of the name getting changed and all that. But that just sticks in my mind. It's nobody asks me that. So it was fun to share that little tidbit of info on the Kellie.
I love that. And now the world knows that you're
now the world knows.
Preparing you for a time such as this is really what's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, speaking of New York and Italian, that's where you're from. I want, because people don't know you, right? I want them to know you today. What was, what was childhood like? What was life like growing up in New York? Share more with us.
Yeah, I loved it. Even once I moved down here and in the DC area and go back, unfortunately, the neighborhood's not there anymore, but it was this old Italian neighborhood and everybody knew everybody. It was this village that supported each other. The whole family lived in the same apartment building, and you walk down the street and they gave you free ice cream after, whatever. You just stop in. They're like, oh, I know you. Here, have some ice cream. And it was just this community. And you don't see that a lot of places. And I'm sure because the neighborhood's gone, it's not like that up there anymore. But it was just so amazing to see so many generations together as a community. So it's just, it's in here for me. It's that supportiveness that I needed desperately, given some of the other things going on in my life. And it was wonderful. So
I think it's tended to be an undertone of subconsciously in different seasons, the thing that I think it's the decisiveness for you of I know there's community here. I'm experiencing the sense of home and family. I can be a part of this. And
Exactly.
we've done a lot of work together, both business and
Yeah.
personal, and just being friends. And I feel like that is the undertone of like, okay, is this space a space where I can have community, create friendship, and feel like I belong, or is this not? And
Yeah.
that sometimes has been a deciding factor for you. And
Yeah.
that makes sense because that was something
Yeah.
rooted in your childhood.
Yeah. And whenever I go against that feeling, it ends up blowing up. So, you know, it's worth it sticking to the roots there.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
who was Kellie as a young girl? I know a little bit, but I'd love to know. Like who was Kellie Thompson? I want to
Thompson.
know.
So I was an artist at heart. Like I was not the kid that was volunteering to go play sports all the time. I was a dancer, a singer, and I drew all the time. Um, and just a little snippet as to what that was like for me. Playing for me was going in my grandparents' backyard, and they had a stump from this huge tree that had been cut down, and that was my stage. And I had this pen that the cap almost looked like a microphone, and I would go out there for hours and just perform on this little platform. So art of some sort has been in me from day one. So
So
yeah.
beautiful. And that's also what what your girls are like specifically.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
they very picked up mama on that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's fun to see which direction the kids go in. And, my oldest, as you know, is into musical theater and is doing it with every fiber of her being and really taking it seriously and has these big dreams. And my middle is still trying to figure herself out, but was doing orchestra this year and loves it. But she's also got the math side. And so she can't decide if she has dreams of going to MIT or to like Juilliard, but she also will do something fantastic. And we all know it. So, and the little one is really into sports, but I see a bit of performance in him as well. So
He's dramatic, like as is. He doesn't need a stage. I feel like,
and that boy loves to dance.
I love that.
We have little breakdancing sessions in our living room.
He is fantastic, and I
Yeah.
think it's super special that you get to see some of the most like sweetest parts of your childhood getting to play out with the girls, right? Where it's like, wow, like they don't just have a stump, like because of what you and your husband Chris are doing, like they actually get the stage, right?
Yeah.
They get to have that experience, and I can't imagine, but that must be really healing and
Yeah.
and just creating a sense of wholeness for you.
Yes, it is. It is wonderful to see my kids be able to follow their dreams and not have roadblocks. So many of us in my generation and older generations were told to get a good job, one that's going to pay the bills. Yeah, you have dreams, but that's just for fun, you know, all with good intentions. But I want my kids to know, and I'm proof to an extent, and my husband is as well. Like, even though I started late in life with my art career, I am becoming successful and I'm kind of known throughout the area. I mean, I just had a really high up person grant me the permission to use one of their designs in a design I was doing. So it's, I'm a success story and I want them to know they can start now. And it's so wonderful to see them just thriving. So
So beautiful. And I think that's something that parents need to hear who are listening, and maybe other people do, that like whether or not it was your story, your kids can still do that. And I think
yeah,
as parents, they want that, but
yeah,
getting to allow it to happen and getting to like just kind of do a little bit differently than it was done for
yeah,
you, right? That's the point of the generational pass
yeah.
off, right?
When I do feel, there are still some families that are like that are like, nope, it's fine to do while you're in school, but you gotta be an accountant or you gotta be a doctor. That's the only way you're gonna be successful. And I see my heart break for my oldest, who's always had us as supportive parents, seeing her friends that love singing and are good at it, but can't. So
Yeah. And
yeah,
it's finding that balance too of like not discourage. And we've had conversations about this too of like, it's not about discouraging the dream. It's about guiding them and not saying, no, you can't or you
right.
couldn't. But it's just being like, it's just fostering that curiosity because they're going to figure it out themselves. Like
Yeah.
they'll get to a point, whether it's a competition, a dance, somewhere where they
Right.
have to be told that they're not enough. But if they have been encouraged and uplifted to continue to pursue
Mm-hmm.
that rejection, right,
Yep.
will have already been laid with a foundation of resilience already because they're
Mm-hmm.
constantly curious, right? And I
Yep.
think it's like, oh, just because you can't do this particular thing. And I think I even experienced that in some ways that it was like, oh, well, that's the end for everything. It's like, no, no, no. Like, what does that look like? And even when I think back to being 2 years old, I was asked, which I don't even know how that even happened, but God's plan. I was asked to sing. I was dancing at 2. And so I was asked to sing the Barney song, the Sister Barney song, in front of the entire auditorium. And like at 2.
Yeah.
And, I got, pulled away from dance for different reasons in my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it was financial. And it took me a really long time to find my way back to a stage. And what I
Mm-hmm.
thought that like, I was never going to get back to or that I needed was the performing of it all. And
Mm-hmm.
as I've been doing a lot of reflecting and just really deep work past couple of years, it was never about the performing. It
Yeah.
was about the platform. It was about the space. It was about getting to give something to the audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And while I'm not tap dancing or ballet or, gymnastics
Yeah.
or lyrical, whatever, this is a stage, right? Like
Yeah.
the times that I've been able to speak on stage, the times that I've been able to do different panel discussions, like
Mm-hmm.
that's a stage. And
Yeah.
and again, it's not, telling Brittany like this isn't it, so it's not gonna work. It's okay. Well, how do we encourage dreaming, but
Yeah.
figuring out until?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
Um, one of the things that and you teased it a little bit, which I'm excited. I want the world to know because I think I'm your biggest cheerleader, and there's so many steps that you've had to take to get where you say the word success and Kellie Sansone in the same sentence.
Mm-hmm.
What was the infancy stages where you went from I want to do art because I love it to like I want to be and make and create and earn from my art? Like, can you just like I want the
Yeah.
details. Share that
Yeah.
that manifestation, that growth journey.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I was, told to get a good job. I never finished college. It just wasn't for me. I started, it just didn't work out. So it was hard for me to get a good job, one of those high paying things. And I worked really hard and I got pretty high up there. And, but I was never fulfilled ever. I was traveling all over Canada and the US, creating these massive trade shows and conferences and special events and really good at it, but I wasn't fulfilled. And when I had my oldest child, I had the opportunity to become not only a caretaker for her, but also for my grandmother who was suffering from Alzheimer's. And it was an unexpected but wonderful gift to have to give up my career because it forced me to kind of figure out who I was as a person other than this event planner, you know? And it took me a while. It wasn't until I had my second kid that I was drowning in caretaker duties and being just a mom, just a mom, as as people think. And I owe it to my husband. He's like, you've got to do something creative. He goes, it's in you. You have to do it. And you haven't done it in ages. And I just started creating. It started off with something simple like making felt flowers for wreaths and hanging them up in the house. And then people loved them. And so I was doing that and I was like, but you know what? This isn't my thing. Like, this is just something I saw a tutorial for. So I started drawing again and painting. And it was like, this little bud that was inside me just opened and blossomed. And I had no intentions of turning it into a business. It was not, that was not even there. It wasn't until people started going, is that for sale? That I was like, oh, you know. Um, and I started really slowly. I tried the whole Etsy thing. And it wasn't until I had this partnership with a winery where I was doing the paint and sips that they let me use their walls as a gallery. And I did an art show there. And it was right at right a week before everything shut down for the pandemic. And it forced me to build a website and do all of these things that I never even thought were possible, I guess. And it's just gone from there. I've shifted gears multiple times over the years, and it just keeps getting better and better. And, one of the things is it's joy for me to paint. Expressing myself is joy. But then I get even more joy when I see people's reactions to my work and they take home that piece because it gets them, and I do paintings of food, which people, my father, Lord love him, he's not a creative type, he's an ex-Marine, and he would look at my stuff, he's like, why would somebody buy a painting of that?
Thanks, Dad.
And he's like, I mean, I like it. It looks like the cookie, but why would somebody buy that? And in his way, he was just trying to understand. He wasn't belittling. He was just trying to understand. And it's like, you know what, Dad, I don't know, but they do and they love it. So I'm going to keep doing it. It's helping me and it's helping other people. And just, I tell this story all the time because it gets me right in the heart. The big art show that I do every year in Delray, the Art on the Avenue, I had taken this thrift store plate. Do you know who Thomas Kincaid is? That artist. He does like really flowery, bright, cheery, like cottages and stuff like that. And I took that and then I made it spooky. I darkened the whole theme, made the cottage look like it was falling apart, added ghosts, dead plants, all that sort of stuff. And this gentleman, probably in his early 20s, was walking by my booth and stopped dead in his tracks and pointed at that and was like, oh my God. He's like, I love that. And his friend, spouse, whoever she was with him was like, you have to get it. And he saw the price. He's like, I don't know. She's like, you have to get it. You had such a joyful reaction to that. You need to have that at home. And it's that kind of thing that is just like, talented or not, it's bringing joy to people. And that makes me so happy. And being able to tell my kids, like, look what happened,
Yeah. And
So.
and again, I think there's so much beauty of like you're literally walking side by side with your kids. And we were just talking offline how like you're in a season where life is busy. Your husband's traveling for work. There's a lot of things happening. And you were at a crossroad moment where you're like, my kids need to be in two different directions, but I also have this amazing art show that is a huge opportunity for me every year. And it is just as easy to say, hey, I'm not going to do that. Right. And I'm going to go shuffle the kids around. But instead you're like, I'm going to call in the cavalry and I'm calling on friends and neighbors in my community to come help out. Yep. And I think there's a lot of women and men who are at that juxtaposition as entrepreneurs feeling like, oh gosh, like it can't come as a choice. And the reality is the reason why you chose to become an artist, right? Joy, love, to create a revenue for yourself, to follow your dreams. You can't let your why be the reason why not. Your kids are your why. So they're your kids, to show them and to be alongside them and to tell them and to walk the walk. So when they say, can I dream? You can say, look what mommy did. I can, you can too.
Yeah.
And you could have said no, but you didn't because you're like, no, like this is bigger than just shuffling to a couple different events one time.
Yep. And it's also good for them to see that I'm putting something for myself ahead of everything else. I didn't used to do that. Yeah. It used to be kids, which is great at the time. But, they're older now and I need to focus on me some. And, so it's good for them to see that too. I don't want my girls growing up thinking that they have to put everything on the back burner for everybody else. So.
Right. I think it's so special. And again, like these are small moments that could have easily just shuffled that aside. You're like, no, like I committed, I put a fee down. Oh, there's so many layers, but you're like, at the end of the day, like I can call on people. And I think there's also a complex to that too, that I know that from my own experience, but also just what I know that, women in their 30s and 40s are experiencing is just like that severe mom guilt, right?
Yeah.
That mom guilt that comes in very unique shades that are very specific to every person around, well, I can't, or I couldn't, or I shouldn't. And at what cost? Who actually suffers?
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Like the woman sacrifices herself on the principle of sacrificing And there is no redemption for that. There is
Right.
no, because again, you do it because you love your kids. And I want to make it very clear. I'm not a mom, not here giving mom advice. I have a
Right.
lot of mom friends. And I'm very wise. And I have these conversations with women like Kellie who are smarter than me, who also agree because I take their advice and I listen to what she, she's experiencing. And the reality is like, there doesn't, it's not a give and take. Motherhood is an outpour. And if we only are outpouring without setting those really healthy boundaries of community and fellowship
Mhm.
and things that bring us joy and love, we
Right.
get to the end of primary parenting at the age, you're 20 years in, and you don't even know what you are. You don't even know
Right.
who you are. You can't even
Right.
recognize yourself.
Right. It's have you heard of the bucket theory? I'm
I
sure you
think
have,
so.
where
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like you can't work from an empty bucket, so you have to allow yourself to fill your bucket, and then you can fill other people's buckets. And there's a book on it. There's one for adults and there's one for kids, and I think it is literally called the bucket theory. But my kids were learning that in school years ago, and I ended up reading the book for adults too, and it was very eye opening. Um, and as moms in general, I think people try to keep giving, 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 giving until there's literally nothing left to give. And I've made with my autoimmune stuff, I've pushed myself way past my limit before, and then I'm the one that suffers in the end, where I'm, in bed for a week
Yeah.
because and only doing the bare minimum because that's all I can do. And you know, once we learn that it's okay to do things for ourselves, then you're able to do even more for other people because you're filling your bucket too.
Yeah.
So,
What would you say has been like, there's phases of motherhood, right? There's phases of learning. What would
mhm.
you say has been some of the most profound growing or learning you've done about about yourself as it relates to being a mom and an entrepreneur and a community activist and a key player, I believe, in the community you live?
Okay, so this is a complicated
I love it.
thing for
We're
me.
here for
So,
complications.
so
Wheeler show, so it's great.
as you know, and I'm not comfortable going into a lot of details for this, but I had a traumatic childhood, and I spent a very large portion of my life trying not to be a certain way that I never really knew who I actually was. And becoming a mom, it took a while, but finally made me realize that's not the way to live your life, like trying not to be something. Like you should try to be something, be what you want. And I think once my kids started getting old enough to start showing their personalities and their interests and everything, it was like a light bulb moment of, wow. Like, yeah, a lot of the things I've done are good, but like what am I here? Like my kids are figuring out who they are and they're 5 or 6 or whatever, and I still don't know who I am other than I have this interest in art, So I really think it was more just seeing my kids growing and deciding what they wanted to do and what they were interested in, and I finally was like, "Oh," you know?
That's
So,
incredible. And I think it's a testimony that that I do believe that everything happens for a reason. And I do believe that we're placed in places with people and things to learn and to grow. And what I know to be true is that you needed to become a mom. Like that was God's plan in order for you to really get to this place, right? Where you have found such peace with who you are and you continue to scrape the edges and continue to dig and continue to get curious, but he knew that you were not gonna figure it out any other way. It had to be like, "Hey, Kelly,
yeah,
here's a couple. Here's a couple
yeah,
2 tree kids." And,
yeah. Well, and then, it was a hard road getting to that point, and I think that makes me appreciate the children even more because it was not easy getting there. I'd always wanted to be mom, always. I mean, not walking around in toddler clothes, I'm like, "I'm gonna be a mommy," Like,
Yeah.
so, it's no path is easy, but, this is the right one for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, and I also love, knowing a little bit of what I know about your childhood and just being able to reclaim, reclaim
Mhm.
and say, "Hey, you know what? Like, it sucked what I went through, and I wouldn't wanna do it, but I'm gonna do better. I'm
Yeah.
going to be the mom that I've always envisioned that I can be and
Yep.
have a husband that's an equal partner and a participant and an incredible
Mhm.
father." And, like, I just think there's such beauty in that. And there's, there's a lot of people listening that are doing that exact thing in their own
Yeah.
space and their own life, is
Yeah.
reclaiming and really, like, I even go deep to say generational curses, like
Yeah.
I don't, my biological father, if you've listened to episodes, you can go back and hear as I give little snippets of myself. He is alive and well, but he is not in my life.
Yeah.
None of my sisters and I. And one thing that I know to be true is that the man that I marry, the one that God brings me, is going to be a redemptive person for me in that
Yeah.
way. There's
Yeah.
been amazing men that have come alongside that have showed me
Mhm.
how to be a man, how to love, how to be well. Like, just God is so good in the mosaic that has been that.
Mhm.
But as it relates to my childhood, as it relates to, like, you, Chris, is that for you, right?
Mhm.
Like, so much so as it relates to, like, creating that marriage identity that
Yeah.
feels so whole and healing, that you were longing for and looking to as a young
Mhm.
girl, which
Mhm.
everybody is looking, like, as children, we're meant to just be, we're meant to be existing and learn all the things. And so naturally, as children, right, we're meant to be provided for in that space.
Mhm.
And so um I think it's incredible that God has brought you here, and it's just going to get really sweeter. Like, I like, we got time, but I'm really excited for Grandma Kelly. Like,
Yeah.
I'm really excited for if that is what
Yeah.
the kids decide to go and have
Yeah.
children. Like,
Yeah.
it's it's gonna be like, I just feel like, Kel, I see you as, like, the fun, we're gonna cook and bake and we're gonna paint
Yeah.
crazy stuff. Oh, here, take your kids back. Love you guys. Grandma sees you later. And, like, it's just this free spirited fun
Yeah.
party,
Yeah.
and the girls come in like, Mom, what are you doing? Oh, we just had a couple of cookies at 9 o'clock at night. It's fine.
Yep. No, I'm totally gonna be the grandma that, like, the fun grandma. It
Absolutely.
is. Yeah, yeah, and if my kids don't have, decide not to have children, that's fine too, and I'll just be the fun mom for them. And, when my oldest ends up on a Broadway stage, I'll be
Done.
standing up and whoop whoop, like,
Absolutely. Let me, yeah,
yeah,
like, you can tell who the mom is in the room
yeah.
right here. I'm proud mom shirt. You can tell. It's
Yeah.
really sweet because I have another amazing Kelly in my life, and she recently became a grandma, and she talks about how even just in that space, because her granddaughter lives in Florida, they're pretty far away, and so she's even talking about, like, the beauty of, okay, well, how can I show this love to others? How can this little part of me has been unleashed, right? This grandma
Yeah.
side, right? This mother side, and that maternal instinct, women have most of the time naturally. So even if it is not your own, there
Right.
are others to love.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You've been a recipient of that. I've been a
Yeah.
recipient of that, of men
Yep.
and women that have come along that are not biologically ours, right?
Yeah.
That have
Yeah.
come and loved on us and poured in on us
Yeah.
and are really influential.
Yeah. When I've always wanted to be like the safe home that if any of my kids' friends just need a meal or just a couch to sit on, like I want that to be, and that's happening. It's I'm the Broadway mom to a friend of my oldest who her parents know nothing about Broadway, but she's obsessed with it. So I'm there to, like, when I see her, we can chat Broadway. Or I've got another one that she's too close to the school to get the bus, but it's a really far walk. So after rehearsals, she knows that my oldest could just text me and, yep, she's got a ride home. And, and that makes me feel good because I'm able to give this, support to anyone,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
So,
And such an extension of, again, like, loving well, and, this identity of, like, what is Kelly? Kelly is love. And it just comes in different shades, literally
yeah,
literally different colors,
yeah,
because you're an artist, right?
yeah, yeah.
And I also, if anybody's watching on YouTube, if you look behind Kelly, she actually, which I think is such a beautiful moment, is one of the first ever paintings she's ever done on the wall. And Kel, tell them a little bit about this for those that can see, and if you can't, watch the YouTube so you can actually see it.
So it is my favorite project from high school. And it started off as a still life drawing of this sweatshirt that was folded inside of a crate. And I had this amazing supportive art teacher, and she gave us these little cardboard cutouts. And she was like, okay, run it along the drawing and find the most interesting spot on the drawing for yourself. And then we turned it into these abstract, monochromatic
Mm.
piece. And it's been framed. My husband actually suggested that I get it framed, and it's in our bedroom. And it reminds me this has always been at my core. It's there and it's beautiful, and yeah.
You've always been an artist, right? So it's just that
Yep.
reminder of like, that's always she just had to figure it out and like
Yep.
ride the wave.
Yep.
You sprinkled a little bit a few minutes ago, and I would just love. I'm very interested to hear your answer on this. We talk a lot about choosing your hard in this podcast, crossroad moments where all the decisions are hard, but ultimately the decision that you make is going to lead you to the better version of yourself. I would love to know, like, what comes to mind for you as a crossroad moment that you think is beneficial to share with the audience.
Okay, so you know all about this, Brittany, but we had our children in a private school for many years because we felt that was going to be the best way for them to have a good education. And there's been struggles and boulders, I say, thrown at us that woke us up to that was not the right decision. And it took us a couple years to push the button and make the change. And it has been the best thing that we ever did, but it was hard because kids were sad, excited, but sad. They didn't know, all they'd heard were horror stories about public schools and all of that. And it was a really, really, really hard decision to do because it's ingrained in your head. The private education is the best thing for you. But when it comes down to it, my middle child needs a little extra help with some things, and but she's also gifted, and
So smart.
the private schools don't have the same resources. It sounds funny because they get all this money from all these people, and they just don't have the resources to help gifted students or students who may need a little extra help with something. And it's been a whole different story in the public schools. It's been from day one support on all aspects. And, we're lucky to be in the county that we're in because the schools here are phenomenal.
Yeah,
I know there are some
top
places
10 in the country, honestly.
Yeah. And we are in what's called a Title I school, which means that they do get a little bit extra funding because the students in the area are on the poverty level. But I'm thankful to have this community that, in fact, some of the people who are going to be helping me out for that art show are people I've met through that community. And, my kids have made friends that live right down the street because now they're in school together. And, it's been amazing. But that was really, you probably remember because you knew me when we were going through this decision process. Like, it was hard. It was heartbreaking. It was, am I doing the right thing? And uprooting them from what they've known and uprooting us from what we've known, because this is a whole nother ball game altogether.
Yeah.
So that was probably in recent years the hardest decision I've ever had to make, and it paid off. So
It's been really beautiful, and I think I love the most is that like that courage has been honored. Like I think that for a while you were concerned that, and this is just for me sharing with you, I think that you were concerned that you were walking away from God. The private institution was faith-based, and it felt like you were walking away from God. But in fact, I think that you've discovered that actually, like, you haven't. You've stepped closer because your girls and your son are able to walk closer to love and light, and they're experiencing community. They're experiencing wholeness, right? And I think we oftentimes, I'm a Christian that has no problem holding Christians accountable. I'm an accountability Christian. And I think it's really easy for us to say, oh, it's a faith-based institution, we're going to get XXX. And the reality is it doesn't matter what the institution is. It doesn't matter what the doctrine is. It's that we're broken people. We are.
Yeah.
And we're going to fall short.
Yeah.
And you just weren't receiving what your kids needed. And that's okay. And that doesn't mean that God is not still a part of your life or your family or your kids' lives. It just means it looks a little bit different. And in fact, because I know God to be the most loving, kind, sweetest God, I think he is showing up 10 times more visibly because your kids are walking in love and joy and experiencing just this euphoric set. Like watching your kids in the first 6 months of this transition was insane because
Yeah.
the worry and the just all what you and Chris battled with was like,
Yeah.
wait, why did it take us so
Yeah.
long? Like,
Right. Right. I mean, to see my oldest go from 100% insecure, anxiety riddled, quiet kid to this, yeah, I'm going to be on that stage and I'm going to sing my heart out. And yeah, I'm going to try out for advanced classes. Why not? I mean, she went from, she has ADHD and has struggled, but girls are not as easily diagnosed because they don't usually show the hyperactivity that boys will show with ADHD.
Yeah.
And so her teachers would never say anything because, she was doing well. She was doing okay in school. But now she's been on the honor roll every single quarter since being in the public school. She had to pick classes for high school.
Oh my gosh, Kellie. This whole episode will just cry for the next 2 minutes. Like, this is so high school?
Yeah, high school next year. So she had to pick her classes and she picked honors classes. She picked all honors classes to go from a girl who felt she never spoke bad about herself, but you could see it. She was insecure. She did not feel smart. She did not feel talented. She did not, she was in the minority at the private school. We are not rolling in the dough. We do not have a mansion like many of those people do. We do not have house cleaners like most of those people do. And so she felt very different. And she's never said this, but I'm sure she felt less than because of how some of these other children behave in those schools. Not all of them, but some of them. And it's good for them to see the difference in the, the economic levels and the, they were never going to be exposed to people in the LGBTQ plus community in the private school system. They were never going to be exposed to students trying to figure out who they were, because in the private schools, you are what they tell you are. And so it's been amazing. And the love that they're sharing with people and my oldest is the first one. If someone says they're struggling and they haven't had food, she's like, my mom will make you food. Like, or do you need a gift card for the grocery store? Let us know. And, sometimes it's like, wait a minute.
Wait a second.
Who's
paying for that? Are
Right,
you getting donations for this Adriana gifting fund? Like, what's happening here?
Yeah. Like but I love that she's like, yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
And, my middle is this, she is an ambassador at the school for the Green Initiative. She is. I'm bragging. Sorry, I'm bragging.
We love it. We're all about that.
She is I forget what they call it, but it's this IDIDS program where she goes and helps other special needs students and gets to spend time with them. And it is her favorite part of the week, going to see those kids. And these were all decisions she made. She came home. I want to apply for this. Can you sign the form? Like, there was no.
They're so empowered. Especially for young girls. They're empowered.
Yeah. That is what it is empowerment. And it's all done internally with them. They're not getting that external. It's not because someone's telling them they're good. They know it themselves. And that is a major proud mommy moment.
Yeah.
That is like, you went from feeling small to now you feel big. And that is, but they're still kind.
Yeah.
There's not the big heads, you know, it's.
And that I told you that I feel like there's been a covering on your family, that I believe that like God has covered those kids and is guiding them. And you can just see that in my opinion, from what I know about God is like, he truly is keeping them safe. And I think that there are so many different conversations that, people have in this space. And I think what comes to mind for me is, a couple of things. It's like, we all are meant to walk, we actually past couple episodes been talking about like, the Holy Spirit convicts us differently. There are 2 rules: love God and love your neighbor. And all the 10 commandments funnel under each of those.
Mm-hmm.
It's really easy for us to take gray area and create a lot of rules. And what I'm seeing from your girls is they're loving their neighbor. They may not know they're
Yeah.
loving God, but they're loving their
Yeah.
neighbor for sure. And I
Yeah.
know Adriana loves God and has a relationship with him.
Yeah, but they're doing. I mean, everybody goes through a part in their life where they're questioning everything, and that's fine, and I support that. Like, you got to make decisions on your own. At in that teenage phase is you can't push them.
Yeah.
You can't say you
can
have
just
to do
guide them.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, just guide them. This is what I believe. This is what is right for me. But you got to find your way, and it is hard to see, but also good to see. You know. Yeah.
I think the element too that a lot of parents struggle with, even those that practice that are sending their kids to private school, is like the trust of like, okay,
Mhm.
I'm going, like, it's up to God. Like, at this point, she's going to be in high school. You have to trust that you and Chris are doing everything you can at
Yeah.
home, and you're modeling love,
Yep.
loving well, you're modeling kindness, and you're just going to allow her to experience that, but also trust, okay, God, like, you've got her, right? And I think that can be a challenge no matter where
Yeah.
you're at. And
Yeah.
I think too, there's a lot of noise right now about like, and this is where the Holy Spirit conviction piece comes back, is like, just because Kellie decided that for her children, public school is better, doesn't mean that Kellie is wrong. And just because that's the choice doesn't mean that it's
Right.
not right for you to go to a private school. It's
Right.
okay that we are
Right.
doing different things based on our convictions and based on what
Right.
makes sense for our
Yes.
family.
100%. My whole adult life, I'm, we all do the best that we can and what is right for our families. And, I went through this whole phase where I was so frustrated as a new mom, like, breastfeeding is best. Well, what about those of us that struggled with breastfeeding? So am I a bad mom because I had to supplement with formula? No, I'm not. It's what was right for our family. If putting your kid in a private school, Catholic or not, is what is best for your family, great. Do that.
Yeah.
It was not best for our family. So, I have experienced negativity from private school parents because we left that community. And it hurt at first, but now I'm like, you know what? If that's the way they feel, then they're not the right friends for me.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things I can go on a diatribe of, like loving the Lord, loving your neighbor, you're not doing it. Like, just, it doesn't matter what the denomination is, right?
Yeah.
It's like, those weren't your people, rejection's protection.
Exactly.
And honestly, like, those are the moments that I'm talking about where we are broken and we choose to, like, say, well, because you didn't do it the way I did, it means that you're a bad person or you're wrong. And the reality is that's not the case at all. Like, God made us all different shapes, colors, sizes. And that's okay that we are also going to have different convictions. It's not up to us to say, oh, Kellie's wrong for that, or Kellie's right for that. It's up to say, hey, we see you, we're proud of you for making a decision, and we'd love to do this. But that's more a reflection to me on their growth and their walk with Jesus, honestly, than anything else. That they couldn't get to that capacity.
Definitely. I mean, it is wasted energy judging people because you don't know the whole story, no matter how open someone is. Like, I tend to be a very open person, but no matter how open somebody is, there's always more to the story and you don't know it.
Yeah.
And it is just such a waste to judge, no matter what the situation is. Now, I'm not saying if you see somebody, doing something very harmful that you shouldn't, get involved or not agree with that. But in general, if someone is doing their hardest to do the best for their family, then don't judge, support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can not agree and still love.
Yeah.
You can not condone and still love. And
Exactly.
I think that is really something that people struggle with, especially in this climate where politics are every second of every conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we have more in common than we do different. And we just have to be reminded of, like, hey, I don't like that you like this and you don't like that I like this, but guess what? Like, I'm not gonna judge you for it. I'm not gonna hold that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that takes practice. I'm in a place where that's really easy for me to do. Right?
Yeah.
It's a place where, in my walk as a disciple of Christ, I walk the line of curiosity, and because curiosity is the place you can live, where you can go to understanding, compassion, love, grace. If you are always up more on a space of, like, judgment, your heart gets hardened, and you won't be able to understand. You won't be able to even experience little bits of compassion because
Right.
you're already hardened to that thought, that idea, that view that they
Right.
have, instead of it being, so why do you? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
interesting. And I just had a conversation with a friend last night who texted me about a response that he got from somebody else. And he was like, I'm confused. Doesn't make any sense. And I didn't even see the text for a while. And I texted back and I was like, oh, how are you going to walk this out? And he literally responded back, too late, already did it. I saw it. I was curious. I
Mhm.
saw, I sought out to find understanding. And as a result, we had connection
Yeah.
and collaboration. And like, it literally was something where it wasn't that big of a deal, but it was
Yeah.
something where, like, as we're walking as Christian, this statement was like, this is interesting. And
Yeah.
instead he was like, I'm going to get curious. And that's,
Right.
this man is a disciple. And so
Yeah.
that's not a shocker to me. But again,
Right.
that,
Right.
and you know my heart. And so we've had
Yeah.
those conversations where I'm like,
Yeah.
tell me more. Like, I'm really
Yeah.
interested. Like, I want to understand,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
again, if our hearts aren't hardened that way, and this is what I love, is that your testimony with your kids gets to be, we made this decision out of love for love. And
Mhm.
we are continuing to do that as our walk in life. And it doesn't have to be that, oh, I didn't get along with these people. Like, it doesn't have to be this
No.
dramatic thing. It's like,
Yeah. No.
this is why, because we love our kids and we felt called to do this and this felt right. And that can be enough. It doesn't have to slander the other side of
Yeah.
anything.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I've had multiple conversations with a friend of mine that she does not understand the decision to switch to public schools, and that's okay. And she has seen my kids thriving, and, you know, and she finally like, that was the right decision for you guys. It's not the right decision for me, but it's the right decision for you guys. And we kind of moved past it, and it was great. But it was like that mindset of the private school is the only way to go. But she was willing to talk it through, and she was willing to see our side, and that felt really good, because there are a lot of people that don't do that.
Yeah.
So,
And you
but
could say the
that's just
same for homeschool, not homeschool, public,
yes,
private, Montessori. I mean,
yes,
pick a
yeah,
lane. There's
yeah,
any, right?
yeah,
But the
yeah,
reality is, and the point of it all is, no matter the choice,
yeah,
love and
yes,
seek
yes,
understanding.
yep. Oh yeah, I have another friend that moved. She went from lifelong city girl, like, yeah, big time city girl, to moving to the middle of
East nowhere.
yeah, nowhere in Missouri, and homesteading and homeschooling, and they're thriving. The kids are they're thriving. But when she told me she was making that decision, I'm like, wait, explain this to me again.
Yeah.
like,
Say it
please.
slower.
Like,
Is this English?
yeah. Yeah. Like, wait a minute. So you're going from this mansion, like, they made a lot of money in this area, like, mansion. Kids were in public school, but they were doing, like, the language immersion programs, like, all these things. Like, what made you decide? And it was great. Like, and her whole family is doing so well with this decision. It is not for me. I could not homeschool. I do not have the patience
I
for
can
that.
confirm you cannot homeschool. Like,
Yeah.
this is live
Yeah.
along the way.
Yeah.
That's not your thing.
Yeah.
Nope.
No, it is not. I'm not a homeschooler. The pandemic was very hard for me, having to basically homeschool for a little while. But kudos to those people who it does work
Yeah.
for them. But everybody has their own story, and what works best for them. It's like, if we were all exactly the same, how much fun would the
It would
world
be
be?
so boring.
Yeah.
And again, I think you just said something that was really cool, was like, um, that just kind of lit up for me, was in your experience of transitioning with the kids and then your friend's experience, the thing that really stood out the most was the evidence, right?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't the talk, it wasn't the move
Yeah.
itself, it was the,
Yeah.
holy cow, look at them
Yeah.
flourishing.
Yeah.
And I think that is where a lot of people, and even in my walk with Christ, my decisions to do things, my decisions to go sober, there are those moments where the people that love me the most are like, I don't want to,
Mhm.
and then they see who I am
Yeah.
now and how I literally have gotten better and more whole,
Yep.
and that my walk with God has done something in me that brought me to a place that I could never be before. And
Yeah.
while it may not be for them, or they're not sure, they're definitely not like, well, we want Brittany to go back to who she was
Yeah.
before. Like,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
the walk, right? It's
Yeah.
it's the evidence of this decision was
Yeah.
really great, and
Oh, yeah.
based on, look at it play out.
Yeah. Well, and you learn your true supporters when you start following the path that is right for you. And I mean, I've made some big change. You've witnessed many of my big
I
changes
love them.
going
All
from,
of them. I'm like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, some have been questionable, but I'm learning, and I'm going the right path for me. And you really learn who is there to support you and who's there just to take from you. And it's eye-opening and healing in so many ways to witness that. And I mean, it is hurtful. I had a friend that was my right-hand person for over 20 years ghost me at the time of my life that I needed somebody more than anything. It was when my grandparents passed away. And my grandparents took her in as their own, not living there, but like they were basically as her grandparents as well. And you know, I'm godparent to one of her children, and she just ghosted me. And it took me it's only recently, and this happened 8, 9 years ago. I've only recently been like, okay, we're at different parts in our lives now. And, was it incredibly painful? Yes. Yes. But I'm past the point of, I used to look her up on Facebook and see what she was doing and everything. And, people are in your lives for a reason when they're in your lives, and sometimes they can't be there forever, and that's okay. And I'm not. I had great memories with her, but I'm not missing any part of me because of it, if that makes any sense. And that was a really hard lesson, but great lesson. Like, I can get through anything. I can get through the hardest blows.
And what and you and I have talked about this a lot before, but like, I really believe that ghosting was because there's probably was no other way. Like, was it the right way? No.
Right.
But was there any other way that you would have let her go? No.
Yeah.
And you
my
needed
husband
to have that separation to step into who I would know, right? The version of you that I began to know came shortly thereafter, a handful of years after that. Like, that Kellie would not exist without that.
And my husband even said, when I was really struggling with it at the first time, he's like, you know what, it was time. He goes, if she hadn't made the decision, you would have made the decision at some point, because you just weren't uplifting each other anymore. It was more dragging each other down. Yeah. And I didn't see it because I was in the thick of it. But he's right. It was, we were maid of honor for each other. And it was even back then that we were not where we were supposed to be. And I look back at the weddings and it's like, I should not have been her maid of honor. She should not have been mine. It was fine. Yeah. I have no regrets, but it was sour even then. And, but neither one of us, I think, was willing to see it. And I harbor no hard feelings towards her. But it just, like, these lessons are sometimes thrown at you unexpectedly, and it makes you learn a lot. So
yeah, for me, God really likes to hit me with a 2x4. He can't just like tap. But that's my personality, right? Like,
me too.
He's like, hey, and I'm like, I'm not listening, and then he's like, oh, and I'm like, fine, like, I got it, okay, like, the drama, it doesn't have to be dramatic. Now, after several times, a handful of being hit with a 2x4, now I'm like, I think this is coming. I think it's coming. So I'm prepared for the smack. It doesn't hurt so much, but you start to know the signs. And that's like an example, I think, of also that relationship is a great example of what you had to learn, even in this season, of what is serving you, what is not serving you, how to walk away from opportunities, how to take them, and to be like, okay, well, if the thing that I'm involved in or the business that I'm doing is uplifting, then we're check. If it feels like what that felt like, it's not it, and again, to come back to home, right?
Yeah.
To come back to that community uplifting space. Yeah. And that's also an undertone for the decision that you've made for your kids too.
Yeah. My therapist likes to tell me the universe needs to whack you over the head with a cast iron pan before you follow it. But the universe is telling you things, dear.
Absolutely.
So,
listen. Hello.
Yeah. My therapist is amazing, and no shame in therapy, people.
No.
There's no, I know there's been a stigma, but the mental health is very important, and take care of yourself because
absolutely.
Absolutely.
And honestly, like I talk to a lot of people in my life who are just as passionate about Jesus as they are about therapy. They're like, you need both. Like,
Yeah.
especially when you're in a season and you've had a lot of
Yeah.
things, whether you're coming out of addiction, traumatic relationships, toxic relationships, divorce, like it takes an army, and you're going to need the head and the heart connection, right? You're going to need both.
Yep.
And so I've been to therapy. There are seasons I've been I encourage people like you. And again, I encourage therapy in couples. I think that's amazing too, to have someone
Yeah.
to activate for you and to help to be that middle person. Yeah. Therapy is,
Sorry, my headphones are acting up.
that's okay.
1 second. There we go.
I think therapy is amazing. I was wondering, we briefly were talking about the art business, and I kind of wanted to hit back on that
Yeah.
before we wrap up, because
Yeah.
I'm just so proud of you. You guys, I just want to say, when I first started with Kellie, so Kellie and I knew each other, we were working with my client at the time who she does business with, and it was this opportunity where I got to Kellie was like, "Hey, I want to hire you to help me with these things." And we did a really, 3-month agreement, and we worked together. And Kellie's been one of those people that I've worked with where I have come back and continued to use her as the example of what to do when I say, "Hey, this is the experience." And it's not just that Kellie showed up. It's that Kellie actually listened to what Brittany Wheeler said. That's the key, everybody. The mic's on. Tap, tap, tap. If you're listening, listen to what Brittany Wheeler says. And I remember, and we just had this conversation a few weeks ago where this was 3 years ago, y'all, where we were working together. And I had said to her, we were making goals. And I was like, all right, what's your goal for each month? And you were like, I forget what you said. You're like, I'll make $1,000. And
I think it was like 300 or something like that.
Right. And I was like, how about $2,500 a month? And you go, oh no, it just feels so hard. And we're not belittling the situation, everybody. It was hard.
No.
She was at that moment where she needed Brittany to just punch her up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I would love for you to share where you're at now and what are you dreaming of next? Because we just had this conversation of what you did this year, 3 years later. And then I'd love for you to share with everybody what you're dreaming of next.
Okay, so my dreams have gotten very big, very, very big. And there's this trend right now, if you guys haven't seen it, of doing a business bingo card. And so it's at the beginning of the year, you do a bingo card with all of your big goals for the year. And you need a balance between easily attainable goals and really what feels like too hard to reach goals. And so I put some goals of hitting $5,000 or $10,000 a month on my business bingo card. So will I hit them? I'm going to say yes. But if I don't, I'm better off than I was before.
Yes, because that's the point, right? If I can give anybody goal setting advice is if you don't, and this is where I coached Kellie in the moment. She's like, I'll do 300 or 1,000 or whatever. It was really cute the way that you said it. And I was like, okay, well, you are only creating space for 1,000. But if you goal yourself up to 2,500, you could make anywhere from 0 to 2,500. You may not make the 2,500, but you're creating space. So you saying, oh, I'm going to make $5,000, $10,000 a month. You may make 2,500 one month. You may make 5,000 a month. You may make 7,500. You may make 10. You're giving yourself that space to hit that goal within the goal itself. That is still an accomplishment, you guys. If you don't hit your goal, but you still are growing up and leveling up and you're seeing success, that's still amazing. So many people are like, I didn't hit my goal, so I didn't win. I'm like, that's not what goal setting about. Goal setting is creating space for you to grow and to get better. And then you'll hit your goal and you'll reset for a new one. And it sometimes it's taken you 3 years to get to a place where you're like, I'm going to do $5,000 a month.
Yep. Well, and it's great because I have not hit that. I have not hit that every month. But there was 1 month, holiday season is the best time of year for artists. And I had between October and December, I wasn't hitting 5,000 a month, but I was pretty darn close to it. So it's attainable and it may not be every month, but it doesn't mean to give up if you don't hit it.
Correct.
Correct. I wouldn't be where I was. I mean, I was teaching classes. You know how exhausted I was from teaching classes. I was every weekend, going here, going there, teaching these classes. And I was able to give it up because I was, and not that I didn't like teaching, it just got exhausting for me. And I'm going to start teaching a few here and there every once in a while, like no more than once a month here, to fill in where I don't have art shows. Just, you know, I I thank you for opening my eyes to my potential, because I spent so much of my life doubting myself and, well, but what if, and well, what if you don't? Like what if you don't?
You still
And
got
you've
your
brought out,
kids. You still got your
yeah,
husband. Yeah.
yeah. And if you fail, and if, you still have the important things. And that's just been, amazing to me. Sometimes I go a little overboard with it, but yeah, it's fantastic. And I have so much more confidence now. And one of the things I've really struggled with is my booth setup for art shows. And I finally, at that Art on the Avenue, just that same one where that guy noticed that plate, I think I finally found like my groove when it comes to the setup. And every time I do the setup, I'm more confident and I make a lot more sales. When I go back on it and don't do it, because I did a show this last weekend and it was going to be a really high winds due to the area. So I didn't do my typical setup because I was afraid it was going to like blow around, and it would have given the wind. And I didn't sell as much as I normally would for a show. And I'm okay with that. It was a free booth because I did the artwork for the show. Like, so everything was a profit from that. But, I'm learning to believe in myself and be me, be authentically me, because for so long I hid the true me. And, it's great. And I'm finding my oldest and I are so much alike. It's almost scary.
Yeah, you are.
we were at my son's baseball game and we realized we both sit in the same position with our one arm on our knee, the other arm like this, while we're watching. And when we get surprised, we both do the exact
So funny.
same movements. And it's like she, having not been in New York at all, is picking up a little bit of the New York accent that slips out from me every
Like the
once in a while.
coffee. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Her new thing is, oh my God.
Oh my God. I can't with her.
Yeah.
So funny. I mean, she's going to want to go there often, so she might as well have a little accent.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. I told her she's going there with school to see 2 Broadway shows and to do a workshop with Broadway actors. And I said, you're going to come home with the thickest accent. It's going to be hilarious.
It's so funny. Like, where are you from? Are you, is that your mom? Like, I don't know. I can tell.
Yeah.
No, she's straight out of Brooklyn. That's where she's from.
Yeah, exactly.
Gosh, I love that. And I hope that people are listening, whether you're an entrepreneur, or an entrepreneur, or you kind of have a passion. Like, this has been a journey for Kellie. Like, this has not been, I started and I was successful. This was, I started and the success was finding myself and falling back in love with the thing I fell in love with that at the beginning. And then coming to this place where you were ready to say, hey, I'm ready to have the Brittany Wheeler experience. And then that was, it didn't end there. You guys, I'm not a magic pill. Like, when I work with businesses, I'm only taking what's already amazing and making it better and putting in structure and calling up the business owners and the organizational owners to be great. I'm not really changing a lot,
Yeah, no.
And I didn't. I really didn't. And what was so beautiful about working with you and what I continue to just never be shocked. And I tell Katie, my sister, always, I'm like, can you believe? Oh my gosh, I got to tell you about Kellie. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy for her. This is amazing. And it's like, because you didn't just say, oh, I'm going to hire Brittany for 3 months and that's going to do the thing. It's like, you have continued to come back to, your space, reassess, realign. Okay, what is the next version? What does the next season art look like? What are the next partnerships, the next collaborations? As an entrepreneur, you have to be constantly growing and learning and shedding what isn't working, right? And starting new, but staying true. The reality is, like, the same art that made you Kellie Sansone Creates is still the same art you do. You're just learning to adapt and tweak and change. You've made more money on a painting that has that's bourbon with a rocks glass in it.
Yes.
and you'll still sell that painting.
I'm still selling that painting. I do metal prints of it, and that is the first thing to sell at every single show in any store that I have my stuff in. That is going to be my best moneymaker for the rest of my life. I will be known for the nightcap painting.
Nightcap lady. Oh my gosh, have you seen the nightcap lady? Like, that's what
and that and the mini paintings.
They're my favorite.
Well, I have to say, talking about, taking what's already there and allowing it to blossom and hitting me over the head with a frying pan to get me to see it. The best thing that I could have ever imagined happened. A mutual friend of ours, I'm really, really close with her, and her mother has started following me on Instagram and has gone back to our friend and goes, I love Kellie. She is so authentic, and what she does is so amazing.
Is it who
and
I think it is? Is it?
Yes.
Is it? I told her she needs to follow you because I knew she would be in love with you. Oh my God.
So she doesn't follow that many people. But this I was out for coffee with her with the
Our friend,
friend, and she was like, I was talking to my mom about all these other friends that I feel, they just are trying to get from me. And she goes, but Kellie's different. And the mom's like, oh, I love her. She is so amazing. I mean, just look at her Instagram. She is authentic, and she's mature, and I'm like, oh my God, that is such a compliment. Like, the mom loves me. Like, and she's never met me in person.
And Mrs. H is top notch. So she doesn't like just anybody. Trust me. So that's an incredible compliment, and an incredible compliment from our friend too.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
sweet. Gosh.
Yeah.
What last question before we wrap up with lifestyle? I would love to know, especially because we've really hit this topic a lot today. There are moms listening and dads that are listening that have passions, maybe things that they did when they were younger. They dabble in stuff on the weekends, and they're not feeling fulfilled, but they're feeling up against the role that they play in the home, whether it's a mom or a dad, a provider, a homeschool mom, whatever. What's some advice that you would just so purely give them that could help them take that step towards where you are today?
Okay, you have to be true to yourself, and you have to allow yourself that, even if it's just an outlet for, not like, even if you're not trying to do it as a business, you have to allow yourself to do what drives you, because it will help you then be a better parent, because you're getting that fulfillment. It goes back to that bucket theory thing. If I did not paint, and I don't paint every day, but if I didn't paint on a somewhat regular basis, I would be miserable. I would not have that outlet. It's like a branch of my therapy for myself to do that. And whether it's cooking or, my grandfather was an amazing artist for fun. He was a banker, because that was a good job. But he loved cooking, and he didn't get to do it very often. But when he did it, he went all out. And the joy on his face when he could do that. And then their kids, grandkids, whomever sees them, they're like, like, and then they get to see this good part of you that, just supplements that. Like, my husband doesn't get a chance to cook much because he's working so much, and, but for my birthday every year, he cooks a big meal and bakes me a cake, and the kids are like, oh, Daddy's making that. Like, it just adds, it adds to your whole life. It's not just an outlet. It is defining who you are, and other people will start to see that.
I love that.
So.
Love that. And I will speak to those that are super operationally based like myself. Like, art and an outlet doesn't need to be a pen or a paper. It could be cooking. It could be gardening. It could be building. I think like there's so many outlets. Fishing. It just like,
heck, it could be building a spreadsheet. It could be like, if you're a numbers person, like, it could be building a spreadsheet for something. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be something quote unquote creative. It's whatever is in here. Like, just allow yourself to do it, but don't pressure yourself, because I have tried to pressure myself to say I'm going to paint every day, and then it kind of backfires, because life does happen. So allow yourself to do it, but be flexible with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, like, for me, cooking is something that, like, people have been like, why don't you want to, like, go and do cooking? I was like, no, like, I protect that. For me, like, I'm an entrepreneur. I will figure out many ways to make me a dollar. But that safe space, that sacredness that I feel that cooking and getting to bake and getting to give someone this beautiful thing that I made with my heart, and getting to experience their reactions, like, that is such an immense joy that I get. Right. And that's like, I don't need dollars from that, because I do other things, and you may not need dollars from that either, whoever's listening. So it's like, just like Kelly said, just lean in a little bit and honor
Yeah.
yourself and bring,
Yeah.
like, I think I'll add to that too, is like, bring your family and your friends with you, right? I think that's really been the most special part of you uncovering and tapping
Yeah.
into like young Kelly, is that it wasn't just you anymore. It was
Yeah.
your husband and now your kids and now their
Yep.
friends. It wouldn't be the same without them.
Yeah. I mean, and they're all supporting me in this. I mean, my oldest, she helps me out at my biggest art show every year. My middle child, actually, they alternate going to different shows. My youngest is still too young, but
He's also,
and too
like I said, his
energetic.
own
Yeah,
drama on its
yeah,
own. Yeah, he
yeah.
needs his own stage.
He's
Yeah.
too energetic. I mean, an example of him is I have multiple photos of him doing styrofoam snow angels at when we were setting up a retail shop. Yeah, it's
More work.
he's his yeah, he's his own wonderful being.
Yeah.
So but anyway, my middle has recently taken a liking to watercolor and makes bookmarks and sells them and donates some of the profits. Like, she may not want to be an artist, but she's connecting with me on that level. And yeah, so and you're like my husband, I had my cousin pass away right before I was supposed to do this massive show. And my husband does not know anything about my art business other than I paint.
That's
Like,
it.
it just like, I know he's an architect, but don't ask me how he does architecture things.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
Yeah.
right.
The
But
building just shows up.
yeah, he does stuff on a computer. Like, like, yeah. And but when my cousin passed away and I had this big art show that I had never done before, and it was a 2-day thing, he was like, I'll work your booth. Like, just tell me what to do. I'll work your booth. And so seeing me be passionate about it has helped the people around me lift me up even more. Yes.
Gosh, drop the mic right now. It's so good. Oh my God. Okay, 2 fun lifestyle questions.
Okay.
I'm interested to know this one actually. What is your favorite coffee shop in Alexandria, Virginia? What's your go-to order?
So it's new to me, not new to other people. Tate or Tate. I don't know how it's pronounced, but it is right there on King Street in Old Town. And they have a pistachio latte that is to die for. And I have tried pistachio lattes from other places and they do not hold up. So Tate is the place to go. They also, so it is the retail shop on so it is the next block towards the metro, like from that shop. Yeah. Yeah. So I forget what was there before, but it's kind of like across from where like
I think I've seen it. Is it the chicken and place that's like it's like right across the street from the chicken rooster place?
No, it's near La Madeleine and the Star. It's like in between the
Opposite.
La Madeleine and Starbucks. Yeah. Yeah. So it's there and it's
driven
huge.
by it. It's cute.
Yeah. It's huge. It's like a French bakery. That friend we were talking about, that's our go-to place for our monthly get-togethers.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
God, I love her so much.
Yeah. But I've tried many of their lattes. They are all fantastic. But that pistachio one is my go-to. And I've loved pistachios before they were popular. So,
I like
whatever.
pistachios before they were pistachios.
Well, I have memories. My biological father loves pistachios so much, but his favorites are around Christmas time, the red and the green ones. They taste exactly the same, but for some reason they are his favorites. And so pistachios are like in my brain, But anyway, so amazing pistachio latte. So if you're in Alexandria, find Tate. It's Tatte. And it is a chain. There's one in Boston. There's, I think one in DC. I'm not sure.
That's
but
cool.
Yeah.
So cool. Yeah, we'll put the info for these places in the show notes. People can experience it. All right. What is your go-to restaurant in Alexandria when you do eat out?
Okay. So we don't eat out a lot. I'm one of those nuts that cooks almost everything from scratch. And but we this is a really hard question because there are places that have memories that, like, Virtue Feed and Grain. We've gone there many times. But lately, the only time we really go out to eat now is when it's a special, like, date night for my husband and I. And I'm fortunate to get gift cards for Alexandria Restaurant Group stuff. And so I've been able to go to some restaurants that we wouldn't typically be able to afford because they're on the higher price range. And I'm in love with Ada's on the River. It's fancy, but not too fancy for jeans. And the food is amazing. And for those that enjoy cocktails, I love a good dirty martini. And they have a pickle martini there with their own house brined pickles. And that is phenomenal. And I don't drink often, but I do enjoy when we go out, and that is just, it is amazing. And so I'd say I don't know that there's a restaurant I can't live without, but there's some that I just thoroughly enjoy.
Yeah.
So,
Ada's has the small plates, right?
yes.
Yes. Like I love their potatoes.
Yeah. Yes.
They're so
Yeah.
good. And also just
Yeah.
like, it's a really fun place. I would say, like, you've got people visiting in town. You want them to eat on the water. It's like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's a whole,
Yep.
it's really about the experience also, right?
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
that's exactly what it is.
Exactly. And I've recently been introduced to Palette 22 because I'm one of their artists in residence, and I had a late shift there one night, and my family met me there, and we had dinner, and that's some good food.
It's good.
That is some good food, and it's the same company that runs Ada's.
Yeah.
So,
I worked for that
amazing
company as
food.
well.
You wanna talk about good potatoes? They had these like fried potato things with some sort of dipping sauce, and I think we ordered like 4 plates of those because they were so
funny.
good.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
The kids are like, these are delicious.
Yeah.
It was so
Yeah.
funny. Okay, where can people find you to purchase art, to discover more of you, to follow you on Instagram? Where can they?
So
access
Kellie Sansone Creates, but because I'm so unique, it's not the typical Kellie. It's KELLIE and then SANSONE creates.com. And it's Kellie Sansone Creates on Instagram. I'm on Facebook too if you do that, but I'm not, like, it's whatever I post on Instagram is also on Facebook.
Yeah.
So
That's so
yeah.
cool. And is there anything
And if
like on your website, can they find like if they're in the DC area, can they find where your shows are?
Yep. I have an events tab, and it tells you where I'm going to be next, and also tells you past events because sometimes I repeat events. So if you know you're going to be here at a certain time, I'll likely be at that show again. So
Very cool. Very cool.
Yes.
And I know that there's people hearing all over the world, right? So they're going to like your stuff. They're going to look at it. Give me like a little snippet of what your art is and what are the things that you sell / if they wanted to DM you and do something, but maybe they don't live locally.
Okay. So I am an acrylic artist, and my specialty lately has been pet portraits. That's kind of like the most popular thing I do. Anything from a little 2-inch by 2-inch canvas, which is my most popular, to I'm doing a 20 by 20 one here for somebody. And so those are popular. I also do a lot of still life. Food paintings are what really got me kind of out there. Food, beverage paintings, anything with glass. I really love doing the details on glass. And yeah, you can DM me through Instagram or through my website. There's a way to even upload your photo right into the website while you're ordering. So it makes it very easy. I can only ship throughout the US right now. I'm hoping to be able to ship internationally at some point, but right now I can only do the US.
US, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I did try to ship something to Hawaii recently, and that was interesting. It got there, but it took a long time to get there, and it was expensive. So, yeah. So continental US right now, hopefully that will expand, but yeah. And I even have my prints there. If you can't afford a custom piece, I have my prints on there. Right now is cherry blossom season in the DC area. And I have a brand new cherry blossom at the Jefferson painting that I did. The original and prints are available, and cards too.
Yeah.
So
this was remarkable.
well, wonderful. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I was going to say, I hope you had a good time.
I did.
You enjoyed yourself. You guys, you know where to follow Kellie on Instagram. Follow us, ring the bell on YouTube, and follow and subscribe so that you can get these episodes as they come live. You can also TikTok, Instagram, and share this episode because I know that there are going to be people that need to hear Kellie's story, Kellie's heart, her experience. And that's the goal here with Brittany Wheeler Show, is to bless one person every episode. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Kellie. As always, do good things, make me proud, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.